Good call up. Good call, buddy. So, what's up, guys? I am finishing up my notes, pulling them up, getting them ready to go. Uh, that way I don't skip over anything that happened tonight on Monday Night Raw. This is the right. Yeah, okay, this is the right. Okay, so tonight was Monday Night Raw, January the 10th, 2018. This is my first ever wrestling show review here live on my YouTube. So we're just going to talk about the show really quick, and I'm going to give it a grade 1 through 10 and explain my reasoning afterwards. So the top of the show, start of the show, we had Seth Rollins open the show with a very passionate promo where he called out Baron Corbin to the ring. And he talked about a bunch of things over the past couple weeks. That has transpired. He made reference to the urine jokes that have been running around with the Authors of Pain and Drake Maverick. He talked about the ratings being in the toilet, and he just pretty much said that all of Raw could be better if it wasn't for Baron Corbin. Pretty good segment to open the show. Then Seth went on to challenge Baron Corbin. Baron said he was going to make Rollins' life a living hell starting after TLC when Baron goes on to defeat Braun Strowman. And it was Seth then came back with, "Why wait till after TLC? Let's make my life a living hell tonight. Me, you, tonight in a TLC match." Baron Corbin said that if they were going to wrestle a TLC match, it would be for Seth's Intercontinental Championship. Seth, of course, accepts the challenge, setting up the main event for later in the night to be Seth Rollins versus Baron Corbin and a TLC match for the Intercontinental Championship. Good segment, good way to open the show. Raw has had really crappy opening segments the past couple weeks, so this was really refreshing. Very refreshing change of pace to see Rollins and kind of sticking it to Baron Corbin and bringing up the fact that the ratings have been down and everything else. So right before we go to commercial, the announcers, the commentary team hyped up that coming up next would be the Authors of Pain with Drake Maverick versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable for the Raw Tag Team Championships. We go to commercial. We come back from commercial, and Seth Rollins is being interviewed, and he pretty much just says that Corbin didn't really make the smartest move by accepting the challenge, and that Rollins considers himself a champion, a real champion, and he's going to take a stand, and he's the locker room leader. And if he can't beat Corbin, he doesn't deserve to be the champion. So then we go and we transition into the handicap match. We've got the Authors of Pain and Drake Maverick, the defending tag team champions, versus Bobby Roode and Chad Gable. And I'm going to be honest, I'm kind of tired of this rivalry already. I think it's very stale. But on top of that, something I didn't like about this match was the whole time Michael Cole and Renee Young were driving home the fact that this was a handicap match. This wasn't fair. This wasn't this wasn't the way it was supposed to go. This isn't fair. This isn't fair. But over the past couple weeks, we've seen Lucha House Party matches where 3 babyface wrestlers take on 2 heel wrestlers, and Michael Cole and Renee Young just put it over, and they love it. And I don't know who's feeding the commentary team their lines, but I really wish they would acknowledge that, because it sounds like crap, not just as a fan, or not just as a wrestler, but as a very long-time wrestling fan. To me, it sounds like crap that they're justifying the Lucha House Party rules when the Lucha House Party's out there, but in this case, it's not fair. It doesn't really make sense. Either way, Authors of Pain, the match starts off. Chad hits a drop kick, gets swatted to the outside. Authors of Pain control the match pace pretty well. Bobby gets the hot tag at one point. Couple good spots in the match. This wasn't like a spot. This is a very basic old school tag match. The big nasty heels, the Authors of Pain, dominated most of this match. The Authors of Pain hit their Um, the like suplex lift power bomb neck breaker. I don't know what they call it. I forget. Um, but Drake Maverick wants the tag to pin Bobby Roode again for the second week in a row. So they tag in Drake Maverick. Maverick sits down, kind or crouches down in front of Bobby Roode and does the glorious thing. He falls back. The ref hits one. Bobby Roode reverses it, rolls him up while the Authors of Pain are out of the ring already celebrating. 1, 2, 3, and boom. We have brand new Raw Tag Team Champions, Bobby Roode and Chad Gable win by pinfall. Maverick and the Authors of Pain are not very happy in the ring. Good match. It wasn't anything over the top. It wasn't spectacular, but it was a good match. Also, for all of you commenting live, I will read your comments at the end of the review. I'm just trying to get through the review because we got a lot to review, and then I'll read everybody's comments. But thank you all for being here live. This is cool. All right, so we're back from commercial now. We got Chad Gable, or not, we didn't even go to commercial yet. Come on, man. So anyway, right before commercial, we got a little recap of the Drew McIntyre, Dolph Ziggler thing with Finn Balor hitting the drop kick from last week. Natalya comes out. It makes her entrance to a big pop by the crowd. I believe they were in San Diego tonight. Big pop, really big pop. And we go to commercial. Back from commercial, we've got Gable and Roode. They're doing a backstage interview about winning the tag team championships, and they talked about they'd been through a lot, but now they're standing here, the tag team champions. And then Gable goes on to say that there's only one word to describe how both of them feel. They both say glorious. They high five, and then we cut back to the ring. So Natalya gets on the mic, and she cuts one of the best promos I think Natalya's ever cut. It was very passionate. You could hear the passion in her voice. You could hear the fire. I'm not a big fan of this storyline that they're running with the Riot Squad. Not because I think it's too edgy, but I'll explain to you why I'm not a fan of it after I get through this segment. So she comes out, talks about she normally has a smile on her face, but because of Ruby Riot, she can't do that right now. She has a lot to get off her chest. She cuts a very, like I said, very fiery, passionate promo about the fact that the Riot Squad are trying to stomp out Jim the Anvil Neidhart's legacy, and that at TLC, she's going to teach Ruby Riot about respect, and furthermore, she's going to dedicate her match to someone she loves and respects more than anyone in the world, her father, Jim the Anvil Neidhart. She takes a moment to compose herself because she did begin to cry, which, props to Natalya. I don't know that I could cry on national television, so props to Natalya. And then before she gets to say anything else, she says she's going to take every tear, every emotion, and use it to drive Riot's ass through a table. Ruby Riot interrupts. They bring out a table that is in a black cloak. Riot begins to cut a promo about the fact that Natty's crying again. That's all Natty does is walk around backstage and pout and cry, and she doesn't need to seek a wrestling match. She needs to seek a good counselor. But, she has a gift for Natalya, and she unveils the table, and it has a very, it's like a laser printed picture of Natalya's father, who recently passed away, Jim the Anvil Neidhart, on it. Natalya stands there in shock. The commentators are saying that this is too far. And then after that, it cuts from there. And Riot, almost forgot. The last thing that we see before we cut to Ziggler and McIntyre from last week was Ruby Riot said that when she drives Natalya through this particular table, that she will be closer to her dad than she ever has been. It was a good promo. It was well done. And I think that it was put together well. I think the heat that Ruby Riot and the Riot Squad are getting is good. I'm not a fan of this storyline, and the reason I'm not a fan of this storyline is because we've seen this a million times where somebody's family, relative, mom, dad, whatever, passes away and WWE use it for a storyline. I'm not a fan of that whatsoever. I think it's a little classless. But I think that it's definitely something that grabs people's attention. I think it's something good for ratings, and as long as Natalia's on board with it, I have no place to bitch. So yeah, moving on from that segment, we've got Dolph Ziggler doing like a selfie, like hand camera promo. And it really confused me a little bit because it seemed like Dolph was turning face. But then he added in the promo, I'm not the good guy here. I'm definitely not the bad guy. I'm Dolph Ziggler. And then he goes on to say that maybe McIntyre should have thought that he was Finn Balor because he forgot that he's Dolph Ziggler, and that he doesn't need Finn Balor's help, and he didn't ask for it, and he doesn't want it. He can beat Drew McIntyre by himself. So the commentary team then uh, promotes that after the commercial break, we'll have the matches next. Back from commercial, after the commercial break, I saw a really funny Sonic commercial, by the way. We come back from commercial, and we have Drew McIntyre. He does his entrance. He gets interviewed in the ring, and he pretty much says that he's going to let us in on a secret that nobody stays undefeated forever. Not Andre, not Undertaker at Mania, and not even Drew McIntyre. But do you think that makes him more or less dangerous? Asked Finn Balor. Oh wait, you can't because I beat him up so bad, and he's going to finish the job on Sunday at TLC. Finn Balor wasn't on Raw this week, and they're playing it off that Corbin or McIntyre beat him so badly that he's temporarily sidelined. So then we get into Drew starts, going off on the crowd, demanding respect. He's cut off by Ziggler's music. We get into the match. Ziggler McIntyre speaks for themselves. Two fine workers, two guys who have perfected their craft phenomenally. I like both guys. I think both of them are super talented, both on the mic and in the ring. I think, of course, Ziggler's underrated. And I think McIntyre is finally rising to the top. He's becoming one of the cemented guys, which I enjoy because I've always enjoyed McIntyre's work, even back when Vince McMahon named him the Chosen One. I thought that that was a good move because McIntyre's a great competitor. So we get into the match. A couple good spots, couple big little moves. So we go to commercial after a belly to back suplex, and we come back from commercial, and Ziggler's on the top, McIntyre striking at him. They're fighting, avalanche air raid crash, but Dolph will not stay down. Typical Dolph Ziggler, showing the grit and determination that has took him to the top to be the heavyweight champion before. Ziggler rolls to the floor to get away. McIntyre gets out of the ring, but Dolph puts McIntyre into the ring post. Both guys are down. Dolph gets in around 4 or 5, and McIntyre makes it in right before the 10 count. Very typical spot in wrestling, but again, these two can pull off anything. They could wrestle a broomstick, and it would be entertaining. So good spot. Ziggler goes to do a super kick, but collapses from all the abuse that McIntyre has put on him, not just in this match, but from last week. After that, McIntyre has been doing this thing where he taunts his opponents. We saw it a couple weeks ago when he did it to Kurt Angle for the first time. Well, maybe not for the first time, but it really has picked up momentum since then. So he taunts Ziggler. Ziggler finally pulls himself up, kicks him in the kneecap, hits the zigzag 1-2, very close false finish kick out. Ziggler starts tuning up the band for the super kick, goes for it, but gets Claymore kicked 1-2-3. Drew McIntyre is the winner. After the match, Drew McIntyre begins to attack Ziggler, throws him into the ring post, gets him outside, takes the steps off, looks like he's going to powerbomb him on the steps. Officials come out to stop him. Ziggler sitting against the ring. McIntyre runs, Claymore kick while Ziggler is sitting on the side of the ring. It looked really devastating. Dolph sold it really well, and it just plays into the fact that Drew McIntyre is the Scottish psychopath. So then, it cuts back to Michael Cole and Renee Young and Corey Graves, and I've talked about this at length before, that after everything that happens, they always cut to them, and they look at Renee Young for answers for things, and it's been a shit show the past couple weeks when they do that. They didn't do it this time, though. I was surprised that they didn't, ask Renee about Dean Ambrose for the first time. And they pretty much just show the recap of the Slater Rhino thing, which I think is so stupid. So then um, Bailey and Sasha Banks come out to a decent little pop. It goes to commercial. We come back from commercial, and then we have Jinder Mahal and the Singh brothers. They make their entrance with Alicia Fox. So we get Alicia Fox versus Bailey, and it's nothing against the women, but this match it's just kind of whatever. It wasn't a bad match. And then at some point, because Finn Balor won't be able to compete this week, they're selling that. I guess Apollo Crews is replacing Finn Balor in the mixed match challenge with Bailey, and he came out, picked Sasha Banks up, cross-bodied her onto the Singh brothers with Jinder. Bailey hits the Bailey to belly on Alicia 1-2-3. Not really that good of a match, but it's not bad either. It's just kind of there. It's just kind of there. So then we cut to Dean Ambrose backstage, and he's in his coat, and he's watching Seth Rollins get ready on a monitor for his match. And then we go back to commercial. A lot of commercial breaks tonight. We come back from commercial, and the commentary team's hyping up the TLC event. Dean Ambrose is interviewed backstage. Pretty much goes off on Charlie for calling him the Lunatic Fringe, which he's been called for how many years in WWE now? And then he starts to dig in on Rollins about 9 kinds of stuff. Goes off on Rollins about calling him a madman, and he can't think straight, and yada, yada, yada. And then, Ambrose says if Seth is still champion on Sunday because of the main event following tonight, he's taking the title and showing him, but he scoffs at the question about how Reigns would feel, asking who cares. That feeds into a video package about the Shield breakup in 2018 edition, upon which he's asked his opinion and just kind of stews for a long beat before leaving. So it's whatever. Another promo where Dean is supposed to, they've turned Dean into like Miz Jr., where he's like scoffing at fans, and it's just stupid. If Dean Ambrose is a heel, he should be out there attacking people with chairs and kendo sticks and doing what Dean Ambrose does, but instead they have him playing this I'm too good to do that character, and I just think that's so stupid. So Elias is shown preparing for a musical performance backstage. We cut to break, come back from break. Elias is in the ring. Huge pop for Elias. He says, what does WWE stand for? Walk with Elias. Huge fucking pop, as always, for Elias. I think Elias is in good shape right now, especially with the crowd. And, do I think they're using him fully right? Not really. But Elias is just now finding his stride, to be honest. It's been maybe a month or two that he's been this over. So, they have time. It's announced, though, that Heath Slater is the referee of this match because last week, after he retired Rhino, he apparently is not a competitor. He's a fucking referee. Again, stupid fucking angle. Just one of the things that reminds us of how bad Raw's been for the past 2 weeks. And I'm not a fan of this angle at all. I'm going to be honest. I think it's stupid as fuck. And my 12-year-old could write something better than this. So, anyway, we enter that into Elias versus Lio Rush. I'm going to be honest. I was not a fan of this match whatsoever. I like Lio Rush a lot. I like Elias a lot. I thought this was going to be like one of those matches where everyone thinks Lio is just going to get his ass whooped the whole time and then ends up being a decent competitor and kind of doing a couple moves that upset Elias or surprise Elias. But really, this was just a glorified squash. Elias just kind of threw him around. Lio at one point got like 3 offensive moves in. And then Lashley, okay, so Elias hits the last ride sit down power bomb. 1, 2, Lashley gets in the ring to break up the pinfall, which should be a disqualification, but because Heath Slater is the referee appointed by Baron Corbin himself, the general manager-elect Baron Corbin, it's not a disqualification. Baron Corbin, the commentators start ripping into Baron Corbin about how all of Corbin's friends can get away with murder, and this is stupid. This is just ridiculous. This is a dictatorship at this point, and it just goes on and on. Bobby Lashley pretty much decimates Elias. Lio Rush grabs the guitar. crashes it over Elias. Lio Rush gets the cover. He sells it that, he didn't want to do this, and 1, 2, 3. Another boring ass match that should not have happened the way it did. And just again is a very painful reminder of how bad Raw has been for the past couple weeks. After that, we see Alexa Bliss discussing the segment coming up. Really just think that they need to do away with this shit with Alexa Bliss doing these open forum things. I think it's just stupid. After the break, we're supposed to see Nia Jax and Ronda Rousey face to face before their match at TLC this Sunday. We come back from commercial, and we get a recap of tonight's opening segment. Then this goes into another recap of Natalya Ruby Riott. Heath Slater's backstage getting ready to undress, and Baron Corbin tells him that, where are you going? He says, I'm going home. I've had enough of this. And Corbin says, no, you're not. You have one more match to ref tonight. So keep your shirt on. You're staying. After that, Alexa Bliss makes her entrance. She grabs the mic, not even gets a word out. Nia Jax and Tamina interrupt. Jax cuts a promo. Again, I'm a Nia Jax fan to a degree, but it's just kind of one of those things like, we've heard the same promo from Nia ever since we found out she was facing Ronda Rousey, so it's just kind of whatever at this point with me. I don't care to hear about Nia Jax. I don't care to hear about Ronda Rousey. I don't want to see any more open forums. I don't care about Alexa Bliss. And it's just because of how bad this has been booked. I think this has been booked atrociously. So Nia gets on the mic, cuts a very Nia promo about, it took one punch to Becky Lynch's face, but the difference between what she did to Becky and what she's going to do to Ronda is that she's not going to stop with one punch to Ronda's face. She's going to punch her over and over until Ronda has to tap out and submit because she can no longer take the punishment. Ronda comes out after that, gets on the mic, says she's not here to talk or strike her poses for the camera. She's here to fight. Slides in the ring. Tamina, Nia, Powder. They surround the ring. They hop up. Ember Moon comes out. And we go to commercial with Cole announcing that up next is Ember Moon versus Tamina. So we back from break, and Tamina's in control of the match. Again, another one of those matches that's just there's not really a point for it. Not a bad match. Of course, Tamina's a good wrestler. Ember is a phenomenal worker, so not a bad match. But basically, some shenanigans happened on the outside with Rousey to keep Nia from kind of cheating, which distracts Tamina. Ember hits the Eclipse, 1, 2, 3. Ember and Ronda stand tall. We see Seth Rollins taping his wrists up, getting ready for the main event, the TLC match. We go to commercial. Back from commercial, Baron Corbin gets an interview. He threatens to send Charlie to SmackDown and then laughed and said he was just joking. And I got to be honest, I'm just so sick of Baron Corbin segments. I'm sick of Baron Corbin as the Raw GM-elect. And it's not like heel heat where I'm like, oh yeah, this is heat. No, this is like annoying heat. This is like the heat that people stop watching the program because of the heat. It's not like heat where you want to tune in every week to see where, somebody gets the hands. It's just go away. I've had enough of this. Click. I'm going to watch football. I'm going to go play a video game. I'm going to go take a piss. I don't care about this segment. And that's how I feel about Baron Corbin every time he's on my TV. And it's not Corbin's fault. I'm going to put that out there. I don't dislike Baron Corbin. Baron Corbin's a great worker, and I've actually preached praises for Baron Corbin for a long time. It's again, the creative team is just, I don't know what the fuck they're smoking, but I'd like some. So, back from commercial, the interview happens where he threatens to send Charlie to SmackDown. And further, he has no doubts that Braun Strowman is not going to be at TLC. They're really playing it off that Strowman's not going to be there, which tells me Strowman's going to be there. Then, as far as the locker room is concerned, after this Sunday at TLC, they'll have no choice but all hail Corbin, which, again, just not booked well. I can't stand this fucking shit with Baron Corbin. Heath Slater makes his entrance to the main event match. We cut to commercial. We come back. They have that fucking Lars Sullivan package for the 50 millionth time. And I'm going to give you my opinion on him eventually when he debuts. But I have a feeling that it's going to be one of those things. He beats up a couple local jobbers, loses a feud to somebody like he'll probably go under to fucking Strowman, or he'll probably go under to Baron Corbin or somebody, and then he's just going to be a fucking, on TV once a year. So then we go to commercial after the fucking Lars Sullivan package, which just, I don't understand why there's so many fucking commercials. And then we get Baron Corbin versus Seth Rollins for the Intercontinental Championship in a TLC tables, ladders, and chairs match. This match was, for what it's worth, this match was pretty damn good. A lot of good spots, good story being told. So at one point in the match, it starts off Seth really aggressive, pounding and stomping on Corbin. Corbin takes control with a forearm off the apron to Seth. Baron orders Slater, who is the referee, to get a ladder. Seth springboards and clotheslines Corbin. They go to commercial. Back from the commercial, Rollins is trying to bring a chair into the action. Corbin steps on it, pulls him up, and he takes the chair, rams it into Seth's neck. So Seth hits the baseball slide after throwing Corbin out. And we're gonna skip through all the little fucking spots because there's just little things that were like, oh, a suplex, a punch, whatever. So anyway, we're gonna kind of wrap this up. We get back from commercial. Corbin hits the deep six. After that, a couple little spots happened. Seth hits a couple suicide dives, does a third one, gets caught by the throat, and gets chokeslammed through a table on the outside of the ring. Big spot, big bump by Seth. I popped because I didn't even see the table sitting there. Good spot, pulled off well by both men. I applaud that spot. They get in back into the ring after Corbin tries to climb for the belt. Seth gets in, hits him with a ladder, or hits him with a chair. And Seth just starts waylaying him with this chair, just shot after shot after shot after shot. And then at one point, he runs at Corbin with the chair. Corbin moves. He accidentally catches Slater with the chair, knocking Slater out of the crowd. We get a chant, "He's got kids" chant, which I thought was incredibly funny. The crowd is still somewhat behind Slater at this point. Rollins sets a table out on the outside because Baron's on the outside of the ring after dodging the chair shot. Rollins hits a big fucking frog splash from the top rope outside the ring through a chair onto Corbin. He gets in the ring, the ladder's set up, he's climbing, the crowd is popping. Next thing you know, Heath Slater tips the ladder over. Rollins takes a big bump on the ropes, rolls out of the ring. Slater, the crowd loses their shit. They start booing. I thought shit was going to start getting thrown. Slater gets out of the ring, helps Corbin get up, gets him in the ring, gets him on the ladder. But alas, Rollins comes in, grabs Corbin, power bombs him off the ladder through a table with a buckle bomb, with a ladder in the turnbuckles, power bomb. Starts to recover. Slater starts to try to apologize and say, look, I have a family. I got kids. Rollins with the super kick to Slater, climbs up the ladder, unhooks the belt. Seth Rollins retains the Intercontinental Championship and what I would call the best match of the night, hands down, story-wise. Of course, it's going to be the best match with the weapons and everything else, but this match overall was just good. I enjoyed it, and that was one of the first matches. I liked the tag team match with AOP, even though it was just whatever. I still like the fact that Gable and Root are the tag champs because I'm not a big AOP fan. Sue me. But yeah, big fucking big fucking finish, and then Dean Ambrose comes out to stare down Rollins as Rollins is on top of the ladder holding up the championship, and that's how Raw went off the air. I watched Raw from start to finish tonight, obviously. I do have notes pulled up on my monitor over here, so I didn't leave anything out, or I hope I didn't leave anything out. And overall, this Raw is definitely better than a couple of the other Raws that have happened this month, which really isn't saying much. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to rate it 1 through 10. I'm going to give this one like a 6. I don't want to give it lower than a 6. I feel like that's not fair to a couple of the matches and some of the workers on this show that are really strong and they're going out there and trying their hardest. You know, the thing is, Monday Night Raw, the reason to me it's still so boring is we don't have a world champion. Brock Lesnar is still the fucking Universal Champion. He's never around. He doesn't defend the belt. He's a lazy fucking part-timer. They could have gave the belt to Strowman. They could have gave it to Rollins. They could give it to McIntyre. They could give it to Baron fucking Corbin at this point. Just somebody that's there. And it's already been confirmed on so many dirt sheets that Lesnar's keeping the belt till Mania. So it's December right now. We have 5 more months until WrestleMania. And Brock Lesnar's going to hold the belt until then. That's disappointing as a fan. That's disappointing. We don't really have a women's champion. Rousey just kind of cuts promos every week. She doesn't really wrestle. It's no wonder Raw's ratings are in the toilets. I'm going to give this a 6, though. My highlights of the night, I enjoyed the Bobby Roode Chad Gable tag match with the AOP. Not a bad match. Not a great, 5-star match, but a good match. I'm very happy that they're the new tag champions. I didn't mind Ziggler and McIntyre. Phenomenal match, as always. And I like where they're going with McIntyre. I think they're grooming McIntyre to be a top guy, which I can totally get behind. And I enjoyed the main event. Pretty much everything else tonight was just there or kind of sucked. So I'm going to give it a 6, which is much better than the review I gave Raw a couple weeks ago, which was a 1. So definitely an improvement, but not improved enough in my opinion. I think they could do so much more with the talent that they have. I think it's bullshit that the Revival doesn't get used. I think that it's bullshit that Lesnar has the belt. Part of me hopes here soon, and not to Nia Jax, but here soon that Rousey drops the fucking belt because I'm tired of not having a women's champ on Raw every single fucking week. Nothing against Ronda. I like Ronda. I enjoy her work thoroughly, but she's kind of a part-timer too. You got guys and gals on the roster that are there every week, willing to put the boots on, willing to put the tights on, willing to whoop ass, go out there and get TV time. Apollo Crews, Titus. There's just so many. There's so many guys and girls I could sit here and think of. I think it's a shame that Natalya is not the women's champion. Why hasn't Ruby Riott been given a championship match yet? Ruby Riott's phenomenal. There's so many guys. Why is Finn Balor not the Universal Champion? Why is the Cruiserweight Championship never on Raw or SmackDown anymore? Why is it only on 205 Live? That's my point. There's, Raw is not doing what I think they should do. I think this Raw was bad. I don't think it was terrible, but I think it was bad. Like I said, I give it a 6, which is me being generous to the guys, the workers, the guys and gals on that show that I respect as workers. It's not their fault, but the flagship show is definitely not a flagship show in my opinion. So I think SmackDown is the A show, but that's going to wrap things up for the night for my review. We're going on almost 40 minutes. But shout out to Lep, Time Warp, Scarecrow, Janky Cat, and Dilly for tuning in to my first ever wrestling review. You guys are killing it. Everybody, congratulations, Janky. I didn't know you were having a child. Congratulations. Everybody's killing it. So they did it with Eddie Guerrero. Yeah, exactly. They did a very similar thing, Scarecrow, and I didn't like that either. So, hey, no problem, Lep, no problem. Appreciate all you guys being here, talking and doing your guys' things. I love you guys. I'm going to go ahead and end the stream, though, or in the video, because this is more of a video than it is a live stream. We'll be live tomorrow with some gameplay in the afternoon, and then tomorrow night we'll go live with the SmackDown review. So we're doing a lot of content. We're doing a lot of fucking content on this YouTube channel. All right. So, all right, guys. I love y'all. Have a safe night. I'll catch y'all in the next live stream, and I love each and every single one of you guys. And until tomorrow night, peace, love, and zombie slaying to all of you guys. Wonderful, wonderful True Nerd Nation. Love you guys so very much, and I will catch you all tomorrow. Later, guys.